What's going on, everybody? I appreciate it. I started doing a couple more videos here and there, and I appreciate the patience you guys are giving me. But the comments, the feedback, the love, and the support on what I'm doing here, I appreciate every single one of it. Thank you so much. The topic that you see, wherever you see it, for today, I think a lot of people can resonate with it and can pull something away from it, no matter if you're Asian American, if you're black, white, all the colors of the spectrum, whatever nationality, ethnicity, race that you identify with. But I wanted to speak about this topic for some time now, but it took me some time to get to a point where I knew what I was going to say and I could formulate my thoughts and share it with you guys. So for those, let's just jump into it, right? For those who have been following me for years now, you guys have known that my relationship with my parents was very rocky and I personally felt like kind of non-existent, in the effect that the emotional attachment wasn't there. Like, there's my parents and there's me. I'm an only child, for those who are just catching up with me now. And so a lot of times growing up, I felt kind of lost, and there wasn't much guidance. And why I'm doing this video is to shed some light. And now that years and years and decades have gone by, I've come to a point where I can appreciate my upbringing and not be so ridden with pain and so ridden with angst and frustrations on how my upbringing. And so I hope with what I'm about to say, shed some light to some of you guys that are going through or have been through what I've been through. And so with the past month or so, I've had a few conversations with people, with individuals, on how to deal with immigrant parents. And for those that understand, there was a certain point where our parents came from another country and they came over here to start, the United States is a land of opportunity. So they wanted to get away from where they were at and start a new life. And so what I realized is that for the longest time, I was so hurt and frustrated with the fact of why I wasn't getting any emotional support, why I didn't have any conversations growing up with my parents. And a little background, it was basically, my upbringing was, I went to school, my parents went to work, I come home from school, my parents already ate dinner, I would eat dinner on my own, then go upstairs and do homework, study or whatnot. And that was the cycle. We didn't go on vacations, we didn't have outings, we didn't do like what you would deem as though families do. And I've shed light with this with a lot of people because I've been more open about it. Back then I was so frustrated because I'm seeing all my other friends go on trips with their parents, go on road trips, go on vacations here and there and stuff like that. And damn, I'm getting emotional just talking about it right now. And so being frustrated and being in the mind frame back then when I was young of comparing my life to the next kids and the families and stuff like that. Like, damn, man, why can't I do that? Why don't we ever do that? Why? And so I was always so bitter. And maybe some of you guys will understand that, those who are first generation, who are in my shoes or have been in my shoes and have parents who immigrated from another country to start a new life. But as I've come to realize now, later on, of years of just really breaking myself down, is the acceptance of what it was and what it is. And why I say that, why I think it's so important for me to do this video, is to shed light on the fact that, like, for us who were born here in the States and who have the land of opportunity because we were born here, let's put some context into this. Our parents came or escaped from a country that's so bad or was so going through so much turmoil in order to start a new life at the age of wherever your parents came, no matter if it's 19, 20, 25, 30, whatever. And so they came over here with the mentality of starting a new life. Now, that means that at their early age, they left their family a lot of the times to create something new. And I'm not saying that this is, this is easy or tough or wherever it may be. I think it's important for us to realize the context of appreciating what our parents have done. And even though through the years of bitterness, through the years of frustration and lack of guidance for myself, I come to terms with they only knew what they knew at that age. And so I put myself in my parents' shoes at the age of 20, 21. I think it was 25 when my dad left Vietnam. And I put myself into that at that time in my age. Could I have done what he did and what my mom did on their own journey here to the States? And when I did that, I realized and I started to appreciate what they did. And the pain and the sorrow that I felt for myself in my relationship with my parents started to dissipate and started to level off. And the bitterness started to go away because I had a new appreciation, a newfound appreciation for my parents on what they had to overcome. See, many of us get caught up into this whole boo-hoo, woe is me, like my life sucks because I don't have this, I don't have that. And I went through that. I went through the whole thing of, man, I don't have a relationship with my parents. It's like almost like a business transaction. They go to work, I go to school, and that was it. There was not much interaction. There wasn't much emotional support. There wasn't conversations. There wasn't building me up, any of that stuff, right? But I had to understand them in their shoes. And I had to put myself in their shoes, which started allowing me to appreciate, which allowed me to also heal. So for you guys who have gone through this or been through this or probably, are struggling with this. And I think I've had conversations, like I said, in the past few months or past month of how do you accept the fact that you don't have a relationship with your parents or because there's no emotional, there's no conversation, let me just say what worked for me was putting myself in their shoes and acknowledging what they had to go through in order to start a life here. And that's all they knew. They only knew to come over here to start a life. They didn't know how to build a family. They didn't know much about relationship. They don't know much about interpersonal relationship with themselves or with other people. Like, that's something we learned here in the States. So understanding the fact that their sole objective was to come over here to start a new life, to have a job, to provide for themselves, and then my parents met each other, and then provide for one another, and then have a family, because that's the order that you're supposed to go, or something like that. I can only imagine how it would be at the age of 20, between 20 and 25, to leave a country or your home to start anew and still try to figure all this shit out. So for all of us who had to go through the pain or who are still going through the pain and the bitterness and the frustration of not having close ties with your parents or not being able to communicate or they don't understand me, it's because they don't. And that's okay. As much as you want to be accepted, as much as you want to be embraced, shit, your parents want the same also. That's some perspective right there. So take the time to acknowledge the fact of what they did. And all they knew at that moment in their life is to come over here, start a new life, get a job, chase the American dream, be free, have a house to live in, have kids, have a family. But they didn't know the intricacies of things because, Maybe their upbringing wasn't like that. Maybe their upbringing wasn't tight knit. So they don't know how to be. And I would say take the time to ask questions and take the time to get to know your parents' background story. And don't assume that you know. Just because you were raised over here, I can almost guarantee a lot of us don't know shit about our parents. And that's because we're so caught up in our own pain and what we wish to have that we haven't humbled our ass to ask questions, to really see how things are, how things were. And so when I sat down with, as many of you guys know, with my dad for so many years, and I started learning about his upbringing, I started learning about his relationship with his parents, his siblings, his leaving, his story about leaving Vietnam to come over here. It was like a whole new respect and appreciation for the man he is and who he knows. And yes, he may have flaws now. Shit, I have flaws. But I've come to terms with, none of us are perfect. And I preach that again and again and again. But to acknowledge that about my own father was something like weight. It was just weight off my shoulders. And so for all of us here, I'm just telling you this. Take the time to know your parents' story, your immigrant parents' story, the struggle. Imagine yourself at that age in their shoes on what they were enduring at the time. And just admire the fact that they left, and without you being here, they created something and now gave you the opportunity to be whatever you want to be. And so for all you guys that have struggled with it, again, please watch this video time and time again. Please comment below with how you got over it or how you've worked through it. Or even if you're struggling, please comment below and I'll get back to you, or email me, or just look at the bio down below and contact me one way or another. And I'll shed some more light. And I just think that, and I feel in my heart, this is just a really important video for those who are struggling to know that you're not the only ones out there. There's other people who have these questions lingering in their head, like, why do I not have a close relationship with my parents? Why don't my parents talk to me? Why aren't they emotionally supporting me? Blah, 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 blah. You're not the only one. There's other people out there. And two, I hope this opens the minds of other ethnicities to understand the struggles that other cultures may have. And I will be continuing to push on these topics to really raise awareness, because I feel as though I've been blessed with this brain of just thinking out of the box, but also this mouth to convey these messages. And so I'm just going to do it. And there's a lot more coming. And I appreciate everybody and of all your support that you've been giving me as you've seen my growth in becoming a better man each and every day through these videos and just, my Instagram, stuff like that. But I just want to reach out to all those who have immigrant parents who may struggle with this, that, we're all in it together and we're all learning together. And please have some empathy. Please have some compassion for your parents, for yourself, and just continue to love. Because at the end of the day, we don't know. We truly don't know. We might have an idea, but we truly don't know the struggle. We truly don't know what they've been through and how it affects them still to this day. So just continue to love, to show compassion, and know that as you work through it, it just gets better. And your relationship can and will get better as long as you accept what's in the past and just work through a better future. I appreciate you guys' time. Please comment below, help the community grow, reach out to one another. And I love you guys a lot. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate all the things the feedback you guys are giving me. And until next time, thank you. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Cheers. Os.